We were talking about cremations, the cremated remains of a loved one, and what one does with them. And I was talking about how we have the remains of three dogs in the house, part of my wife's aunt, and then my dad's ashes are back here on a shelf in an urn. And I was asking people, what do you do with them? Because my dad never really had any last wishes as far as what happens with his remains. As a matter of fact, he told the guy at the funeral home, just stick it in a coffee can and slide me in the closet. Doesn't matter. And this person here says, Theo, sorry. Was your dad a Cubs fan like you? Perhaps you can scatter them at Wrigley Field if you're allowed. I've heard people doing that. He was a Cubs fan, but he wasn't that big of a Cubs fan in that he would want to be scattered at Wrigley. That wasn't him. What I think we're going to do with my father, and we've talked about this with my cousin, is his one and only brother is buried in the family cemetery in southern Indiana. And I spoke to the people at the cemetery and at the funeral home down there, and what they can do is they can put my dad's remains in a smaller remains vault for cremations, and they can put him on top of my uncle's casket, his vault that's buried. So they can excavate just in the middle until they get down to his vault, and then they can place my father down in there, cover everything back up, and he can be at rest with his brother. His parents are there, several other members, his grandparents are there, several other members of the family are there. It would mean that he would be, 4 hours away from me, but I'm guessing that that's probably what he would like to have done. When he passed, I said to him, "What am I going to do with your ashes?" He's like, "Well, when you get buried, you just have me in the casket with you, you know." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess that's what's happening. My old man's going in the ground with me," and that might still happen. But if I figure out in my head that that's what I want to do, is I want to put him with his brother, then I've already talked to my cousin. She's the one that would have to give permission for the cemetery to excavate that small section, and I would get the vault from the funeral company for him to be put into, and he would just be with his brother at that point in time in southern Indiana. And I think that might be the best route for him. Either that or spreading his ashes at not where my grandparents lived in southern Indiana, but a place that we called the Old Farm out north of town, where he loved to go fishing, and he had a fond place in his heart for. Maybe out there. But yeah, no, Wrigley Field is really not going to be in the cards for him. He didn't really. That I can't even remember him going to a ball game for decades. So not really the best course of action for him.